everyone, welcome back to the channel, The College Process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Pred, and today we're going to be going over filling out the IDOCs after you've done the CSS profile form. Now, what many of you guys have probably done is you had to fill out both the FAFSA form and the CSS profile form. At the end of the CSS profile form, it very likely told you guys they wanted you to fill out the next step, which was called the IDOC process, the Institutional Document Center. Basically, what they're asking for is additional information after you fill out the CSS profile form. Now, I want to basically take you step by step here and show you guys what typical IDOC looks like. So what we do is we come back on here to collegeboard.org. Now, on collegeboard.org, the way I like to go back into the IDOCs is very simple. I go down here a little bit and I click on the CSS profile to log back in as the student. Now, if you got the email, either the parent or the student got the email saying that the CSS needs the IDOC complete, you can also use the link you got on the email, but I like to go in this way. It's a lot faster for me, at least. So I'll go back down here to the 2324 CSS profile form. Let us back into the form. And of course, it's going to ask me here now to sign in. So I'll sign in as a student and go on to the next page. Okay, so what you see now is on the next page, we'll see the dashboard. And on the dashboard, obviously, it's going to have the student's name and the CBF fin aid code, which is an important code too. If you want to right now, just write down the CB fin aid code because you're going to need it later on. So it's something you're going to need to utilize anyway. So might as well write it down now because it is an important code, or copy and paste it onto another sheet here or something on your computer because it will be used throughout this process. So what we'll do now is we'll go to the bottom here and we'll see down here at the bottom of the page here, basically the confirmation page of the CSS profile. It shows us here that IDOC is now ready for us to establish, to basically send out our tax information and also answer any other questions the forms have from us from the CSS profile form. So we'll click on this form right here. Now, on the next page here, you're going to see that I want you guys to make sure you guys put the parents' social security numbers on here because on the CSS profile, you don't have to put the parents' socials on there. You do need to put the student social, so it's an easy way they can connect this application with the financial aid forms, but the parent social you don't need to. So if right here you see it's blank right here for either parent, either the mom or dad or so on and so forth, or if you're remarried, step parents as well, you got to put everyone's socials on here because the socials got to be on here so they can match the socials with the tax document you're about to add to the form. So if you haven't put the socials on, you need to put it on. So what I'll do now is I'll put the socials on here. And after I put the socials in, I'm going to go to the next page. And then after I put the socials in, I'm going to click right here, save and continue to take me to the next page. Okay, so now we're on the next page after we put in the parent social, obviously. Now, if you already put the parent social, it would already say social received, so you don't have to put them in again. So now on the next page, this is where all the work basically gets done. Now, right here, it's showing me here's a few different things here. First off the bat, up here, it's showing me which colleges I've already submitted the CSS profile and which of these colleges right here, the institutional codes down here want more additional information, i.e. tax stuff, other documentation, so on and so forth. So these codes here illustrate who's asking for this information down here. And down here, it's showing me all the different requirements it has for me. So it wants from us the parents' W-2s as well as the parents' tax returns because we indicated the parents had worked on the CSS profile. So it wants us to upload those documents. It also wants us to make sure to see if the parents have any 1099s, as well as for the student. We indicated on the CSS profile for the student here, they did not file taxes. They did not need to file taxes for 21. So that basically means here we do a non-tax filer statement. By the way, I'm going to go through each one of these step by step. I'm just going through these here to show you what this specific IDOC is asking for, as well as it's asking if the student has any 1099 as far as any contracting work and so on and so forth. And then what we can do is, we can start with first thing you guys want to do is obviously have these forms available. So if you haven't done so already, you're going to need, obviously you can see here, the parents' taxes, federal taxes, by the way, and the parents' W-2s. So if you haven't done so already, what you want to make sure to do is take your federal taxes with all the schedules, by the way, because they want all the schedules. You can take off the state tax returns because they don't want the state tax returns, just the federal tax returns here with all the schedules, and turn it into a PDF because it's the easiest way to attach it to this application here. And then also the W-2, you also want to make those additional PDFs as well, especially if both parents work, you want to separate them out. So one parent has a W-2, the other parent has a W-2, that means you have two PDFs here. So in total, it would be 3 PDFs, the 1040 with all the schedules, the federal tax return, the first parent's W-2, and the second parent's W-2. Now, what I did was I already jumped on a little bit earlier and made the PDFs to have them ready to go so I can show you guys here the process of attaching them and how it works. So to add your tax returns, what you guys do, you go down here to the upload document, click on that. And what I did was I basically put the PDFs of the 1040 as well as the W-2s on my desktop here. So what I'll do here on the next page here is it's basically telling us, again, this is the information it's asking for as far as the people it's asking for, the student and the parents and so on and so forth. So we'll click on the next button here. And the next box here is basically telling us the steps of what needs to happen and what needs to be added. So if you want to read through this, it's basically telling me the same stuff I'm going to be showing you guys in a few seconds here. So I'll click on the next button again, click on the proceed button here. And it's basically now telling me you can't have bad pictures. Like you can't be smudged pictures. They have to be clear pictures. You want to make sure that the stuff is able to be read on the computer. If it's not, then you need to take another picture or you need to do another PDF essentially, or they won't accept it. That's basically the way it works. I'll click next here. And now here you're able to do one of two things. You can either click here to choose file and basically click on that and then you can look through your desktop or your computer where the file is. Or the way I like to do it, which is a little bit faster, is I'll show you guys here. I'll move over this. I'll move the Zoom thing over here for a second. I've already put the 3 different documents up here for the parents. So I have the W-2s right here for mom and dad. I have the 1040, so I'll move it over. And you can see here, it'll show up here. Then I'll move over dad's W-2, and then I'll move over mom's W-2. And now right here, doesn't show that's actually uploaded. What you need to do next is, let me just move everything back over. And I'll show you guys here. The next step now is you got to click up here, upload files. Now, when you click on the upload files, it uploads all of them. What will happen now is you can actually see they're all here. Now, if you need to change any of them, or if you want to adjust it in any way, as far as you want to remove it and then add another one, perfectly fine. You can remove them anytime. But once you click the next button here, which is the submit button up here on the right, or submit and add other files, it's there. You can't take it off. So make sure you have the right documents here. You don't want to send them the wrong information. Now, either one of these forms, you can click on this one here or this one here. It's up to you. I like to do all the additions all at once, then click the submit button up here. But if you click the box on the left, it basically allows you to start adding more stuff in. So I'm going to click on the box right here on the right to submit. It's going to tell me here it's basically going to take 3 to 5 business days for it to upload everything to basically be complete for them to realize they have all your information. So I'll click OK as well. And then let me just move this back over here. We can click on the return to dashboard. And we're going to see here now is if you go all the way to the bottom of the page, is you will see down here, they're already in the process of uploading documentation for us. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to click here on the form 1099 for the custodial parent as well as the student. But we'll do the custodial parent first. Now, what happens is this little box will pop up here on the left. This little box here is going to ask you, do you guys essentially have any contracting work, any non-W-2 income? Or are you living off of interest or dividends or capital gains of those things? If you are, then you would actually check off these boxes right here, okay, indicating I have dividend statements or bank statements, so on and so forth. Now, if you don't have bank statements as far as interest or dividends or capital gains, that kind of stuff, and you also don't do any contracting work, what you would do is you'd click on the parent's name up here, okay, on the little box. I'll start with dad first. I'll click on his name. Then I'll click on I am not reporting any 1099 income, and then click submit. And we'll give it a second here. It's going to process in a moment here. What we're going to do is once that's done, it's going to tell us it takes 24 hours. We'll click the close box, and then we're going to go back in again. And we're going to click on it again, and this time we're going to do it for mom. So basically, we're going to do the same steps here to send out mom's non-1099 filing status. Okay, so it just popped up. So then we'll click on mom circle here, click on I am not recording, and then click on submit again. And once again, this is going to process, and this is going to take about 24 hours to get done. And then this is out of the way, and there's nothing left to do for this as far as the parent stuff is concerned, because now the parent stuff is done. And now we're going to move down to the student here. Now, the student here, we're going to click on non-tax filer statement. And if your student did work and they did have a 1040, then all you guys would do with the same exact steps you saw me do before for the parent, basically just upload their taxes via PDF and their W-2, and you're done. And like I said before, they will show up down here. But since this student here did not have a tax return, what we do is we click on the non-tax filer statement. Now, the next page here, what you're going to see is it's going to show you the student's information up here. And obviously, I have it blurred out because, obviously, this is a student's information I want to share with the whole internet, obviously. But down below, it's going to ask you, does the student have a spouse? Now, since this student does not have a spouse and many students don't have a spouse, you basically skip this section. If the student does have a spouse, then you fill in this section here. Okay, so I'll skip this and go to the next page. All right, now here on the next page, what's going to ask me is 3 different very easy questions. Is the source of the income? Now, since the student didn't work, what we just type in is we just type in none, because the student has no source of income. And the amount they would have made that year is going to be 0. And then we go down here to the third question, and we just click down here on US state dollar. And then we click save and continue. And that's it. So the next step is it's going to ask us, how do we want to sign this form? So we click on save and continue, and it's going to show us down here 2 different options to sign the form. We can either print out the form itself and then sign it essentially with a pen, and then take a picture of it and upload it back into the profile the way I showed you guys how to upload before. Or you guys can click on this box here, which is the easiest way to do it, by the way. Click on this box here. And what's going to do is going to send a student an email. Now, what the student will need for that email to be able to sign this document is they're going to need that code I told you guys to write down before. Their code is basically what would be used as a reference point to let them into the email they're going to send them, because it is password sensitive, the email they're going to send, for them to sign saying, I didn't do a tax return. Okay. Now we can close out of this here and go back to the document management center. So we got everything done from this all the way down. And the last thing to do here is click on the student's 1099, and that's it. So I'll click on this here, and I'm going to indicate here, the student doesn't have to obviously click on their circle because they already know this is the student. And I'll click on I am not reporting a 1099 for the student. I'll press submit. I'll click close here. Nothing else for you guys to do. Now, some schools will, in addition to the ones I just showed you here, the different items they're looking for, some schools will ask for what's known as a household verification form. Now, if you have to fill out the household verification form, it's very simple. It's what they're looking for to see is how many people are in your household. So, give an example. Let's say you have a family of 4 with mom, dad, and 2 siblings, and one of the siblings is going to college. Basically, when they ask you for the household size, they're going to ask you how many people in there. You'll tell them there's 4 total people in the household. They're going to want the students, they don't want to know everybody's name, their birthday, as well as if they're going to college. That's the other form that did not show up here, but it's a very easy form to fill out. And when you fill it out, same steps. At the end, I would click on send the student an email. That way you can sign the form electronically. Very easy process. And other than that, thank you guys once again for watching another one of my videos here on Principia Prep.